In today's episode, Maria asks, I'm researching direct mail. My boss says it's a waste of time. It's dead. Is direct mail dead? So, this is an interesting question. Yes and no. Direct mail, and by that we mean literal pieces of paper that are sent to people in the postal system, is or used to be one of the most popular tactics for marketers back in the pre-internet days. But obviously, as people have moved online, electronic communications have become ubiquitous, right? You have these lovely devices that let us communicate and be online 24/7. Direct mail, and by that we mean that mailing of paper to people who did not ask for it, is dead. And the reason it's dead is the cost, right? It costs almost nothing to send an email, even for the most elaborate and expensive marketing automation software, right? It costs almost nothing to send an email. It costs sometimes pennies, maybe as much as 25 cents US, to send a piece of direct mail to consumers. And that's a lot of money, right? You send mail to 4 people, that's $1. That costs you $1. The reason why we're saying direct mail is sort of dead is because it's dead to people who didn't ask for it. And if you're cold postal mailing people, that is an enormous waste of money. It is tens of thousands of dollars that is just literally being thrown away. And more importantly today, it's flat out pollution. It's pollution. It's double pollution because A, you've got the mail pieces being thrown away into garbage dumps, maybe compost heaps if you're lucky, and B, you had to cut down a tree and make the paper that the direct mail is printed on. Doubly so, it's even worse if the paper happens to be, I was looking for some junk mail, coated in plastic to make it weather resistant or sealed. Then it takes even longer for it to break down. And so there are substantial negative climate impacts to direct mail to people who didn't ask for it. I would rather you send 1 billion pieces of electronic spam than cut down even one tree to send marketing materials to people who didn't ask for it. Right? If you're going to spam, please do it electronically. Public service message. Here's the flip side. Direct mail to people who ask for it, people who want it from you, is not dead. If you send out a real paper newsletter, if you send out a magazine, if you send out a mailer to people who have specifically raised their hand, said, I want you to send this to me via the postal mail, and maybe even they're willing to pay for it, then it's not dead, right? Magazines, people still do receive magazines in the mail. People still do read and receive paper newspapers. Not many, not nearly as many as they used to. People still do want to get things in the mail. There are entire subscription services where you get something in the mail, right? So if people ask for it, then it's not dead. The question is, how do you know that somebody wants it? Well, the way to do that is to use electronic communications first, and then ask people, hey, would you like to receive our marketing in printed form? If so, it will cost this much. Now, out of a 10,000 person mailing list, 5 people may opt for that. But as long as those 5 people are the ones that are valuable potential customers, then it would make sense to do. It's like any form of marketing. Does it make sense to do it? Is it the right people? This is the fundamental rule of all outbound marketing. Right? Nothing is dead to people who really want it. Certainly nothing is dead to people who are willing to pay for it. And the gold standard that we all strive for in marketing is have our marketing be so good people would actually pay for it. And direct mail is an example of that. Is your marketing good enough that somebody would want to at least pay the costs of the direct mail to receive a newsletter from you that is worth them shelling out 25 cents? If you're at that point, you are an outstanding marketer. I'm not even sure I would pay 25 cents to print out my newsletter. And I like my newsletter. So that's the short answer. The longer answer to the question is it's worth a try for outreach as long as you are extremely segmented in your mail. If you have a list of 10,000 people, who are the 10 people on that list who are the most valuable? Send your direct mail to just those 10. Keep your costs super low. But if you know for sure, like, these 10 people are going to be lifetime customers. You know this from your data. You know this from your analytics. These 10 people are the people that we have to get out of this list. That's a great case for very limited outbound direct postal mail to people, especially if you can make the mailer super compelling, which is not a postcard, right? It has to be something that when people get it in the mail, they're like, wow, this is actually really kind of cool. Like, I'm kind of glad I actually opened this thing. So these are not going to be a postcard or a letter or something like that. It's going to be something unique. It's going to be something that they were not expecting, that is valuable to them, that is important to them. I'm trying to think of some of the mailers that I've seen in the past done, and usually have piles of stuff laying around. There are certain types of like really elaborate folding origami mailers that kind of spring open into like a little house or something. I've seen realtors use that, which is very clever, like a cardboard mailer, which is kind of cute. Back in the day, we actually got burner phones, inexpensive phones that had the contact number of the chief technology officer hard-coded into the phone. We actually mailed that to reporters, and we did 10 of them, right? Because it was very expensive to do. People have mailed out things like AirPods, right? Or iPods back in the day with messages pre-burned into them. And so those are highly segmented, highly targeted, incredibly expensive pieces, but if the return justifies it, then you do it, right? That is the way to handle direct mail. So is it dead? Anything to someone who doesn't want it is dead. Anything to somebody who does want it, not dead. Just do it well and be aware of the costs and the impacts of it. Great question. Please leave your follow-up questions in the comments box below. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and the newsletter. I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Want help solving your company's data, analytics, and digital marketing problems? Visit trustinsights.ai today and let us know how we can help you.